TV welcomes Jordi Guso, who is partner with Berger Singerman here in Florida, in Miami to be specific. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Delighted to be here.
Oh, well, we're happy to have you here. And I know you're sharing today during the symposium, but we get to talk to you a little bit first. And Jordi and I were just talking before we came on camera about lessons learned from the year 2007. Which was a time of relative calm, but everybody knows what happened afterwards. And when you say that, it's almost like a check in our spirits, because it's like, what do you mean? Do we need to be concerned? What do you mean? What lessons did we learn in 2007?
I think we learned some lessons for sure. There's certainly less leverage in the marketplace today than there was in 2008. I think lenders have been more disciplined than they were in 2008. I think people are less risk adverse, if you will, than they were in 2008. But the current market, to me, feels very much like it did in 2007. And in 2007 here in Florida, outwardly our economy was very robust.
Yes.
Our smokestack here in Florida, if you will, is real estate and hospitality. Mm-hmm. Both were off the charts in 2007. From the condo converters to the multifamily home developers to the single family home developers to the hotel operators and owners. That's very much the case now. Real estate remains robust, although there is cooling off, particularly on the high end of the market. Mm-hmm. It seems that there is more and more hotel hospitality product coming online, particularly in South Florida, where I'm from. Yet, in the background and behind the curtain, if you will, we're starting to get some calls. People are asking questions, what if? And so it feels like the market may be preparing, or at a minimum gathering data about what happens if there is an adjustment. And I think we're due for an adjustment, clearly. Sure. It's been a very robust market for the last 10 years, at least here in Florida. And it'll be interesting to see what later the fourth quarter and next year brings.
Yeah, well, everyone knows that things are cyclical, and so it doesn't hurt to anticipate. But how is our climate different now than it was in 2007, and how can we use it to our advantage if there is a dip?
So in 2007, by way of example, if you had remodeled your kitchen at home, you were a developer here in Florida. You could buy a small apartment building and convert it to condos and look to capitalize on the resale of those units. Mm-hmm. That doesn't exist anymore. There are no turn-by-night condo developers around. The ones that are in the market today are the sophisticated, high-end, very successful developers, some backed by foreign capital that's made its way into our market, particularly as economies struggle and there's continued political instability in Latin America. Mm-hmm. That dynamic has resulted in substantial foreign capital coming into the market. So I think that helps. That's very different than from 2007 and 2008. That didn't exist. Mm-hmm. And I think there's generally more discipline across the market.
What do you mean by that?
Participants. Again, I think most learned lessons from 2008.
Right.
Less risk tolerance, mm-hmm. More discipline on diligence, and as I said, less leverage generally in the marketplace.
Right. As we move forward, and you say you're getting calls already, are they calls of people who suspect that they may need to make some changes, or just people who are the what ifs? You know, what if things do change?
Well, I can't comment specifically,
of course, not about clients,
about
yes.
what clients are calling about, but it generally is across the board. Certainly some industries are starting to struggle and have struggled in the current regulatory environment, particularly in Florida. Healthcare is a large participant in the market. And healthcare, as we all know, has struggled recently, and I think will continue to struggle as reimbursement rates continue to drop, mm-hmm. and the like. I think that there are other participants in the real estate sector, builders, designers, architects, et cetera, who are looking at future projects and wondering, will those come out of the ground? If so, under what terms, et cetera. So there isn't a particular call about a sector or an industry or a client, but it's pretty much across the board.
So what you're saying is it's not a bad idea to go ahead and prepare and anticipate just in case the atmosphere becomes distressed.
I think that's exactly right. And if nothing else, knowledge is power.
Yes.
And information is king. And there is nothing lost by making the inquiry, for sure.
Jordi Guso, thank you so much for being with us
My
today.
pleasure.
It is a pleasure to have you here at M&A.